Hi everyone, welcome to my video today. This is Anna with scrappingstampingandstuff.com. A lot of you are going to be joining in on my Facebook Live, and today we are going to make this really pretty lily card. I shared this on Facebook the other day and people absolutely loved it. And these are the products, the main products that I use to make it. Our lovely Lilypad stamp set. And these are called the Lilypad dies. And these can be earned free right now during Celebration. Stampin' Up! Celebration, it happens every year during this time. If you make a $50 purchase, you have a whole selection of products you can get for free. This is one of them. If you bump it up to a $100 order, you can get some other items for free. This is one of the $100 items. With a $150 order, you can get both of these free, and you get hostess rewards, and I do personal customer loyalty rewards, thank you rewards that I'll talk about here at the end as well. So anyway, these are some of the things that you can get for free right now. And I'm actually going to show you a couple of the other items that I used on this card as well. So we will go ahead and get started. And the first thing we need is a piece of watercolor paper. And I forgot to write down my measurements for this. This is just slightly under, this is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8, I do believe. And we are going to do this watercolor background that you can see. For that, we're going to use one of my favorite tools. This is an aqua painter and some Pool Party ink. And before I open my ink pad, I'm going to squeeze it this way, and if I squeezed hard enough, then I'm going to have some ink on the lid here, and I'm going to use that. I'm going to dip my aqua painter in and try to create this watercolor wash back here. There's water in here. This is kind of like watercoloring with a paintbrush, but the water just comes straight out of here, which is really handy. So you can get some on there, go back and forth. My aqua painter is a little bit dry right now, so I'm going to give it a little squeeze. Try it again. And this is something that doesn't matter how many times you do this, it will never look the same twice. And I always recommend start with just a little color, and you can always go back and add more. If you get too much on at first, then you can't really go back and take it off. So add it till you like the way it looks. I think I'm going to stop with that. Now we're going to get a little bit messy here. We are going to do these splatters in the background. So I'm going to move a couple of things. I don't want to get splatters on that card. And I'm going to bring in an extra piece of paper that I can get rid of when I'm done with this. And what I am going to do is pick up some color. And I want to squeeze and get some extra water down here in the tip. I don't want it to drip, but I want to have some extra water in there. So you can squeeze a little bit and try it out. If you don't have enough water in, you can always try it again. But basically, now that there's a lot of water in there, you're just going to put your hand here and tap this against my hand. And if you see, we got a few little splatters there. They usually like to shoot out in front of the paintbrush. So beware, sometimes they like to shoot out really far. I would not do this with anything important laying around. Now I think it got a little dry, so I am going to add or squeeze it a little bit more. And you can do as many splatters as you like, as few. I think I'm going to stay with just a few on this one. So that is really all we need for the background of this card. If you've never used an aqua painter before, when you're done with it, all you have to do is brush it out onto some scrap paper. And once the color is gone, then it is good to put it away and use it with a different color. So I've got the background created. Some people you can tape the watercolor paper down with some washi tape. while you're working on it if you want to. I typically don't, but sometimes it is helpful because it likes to bow up like this. Now, this isn't very wet, so I am going ahead and I am going to stamp the greeting on it, and then it will be completely ready. So I need some gorgeous grape ink, and these are the stamps we are going to use for the front and the inside. And they come from the Sending You Thoughts stamp set. This is another one of the free celebration items. This one's free with a $50 order, and it has some really good basic greetings that you can use on a lot of different cards. But I really like this one. The one we're putting on the outside says, "If loving thoughts could heal." And then the one we are putting on the inside, I guess I need to bring in my cardstock for the inside, says, "You'd be better already." So when you need a get well card, I thought this was just a really nice greeting. Sometimes you have a nice greeting for the front of the card, but you don't really know what to put on the inside, or vice versa. Maybe you have a good one for the inside, but not the front. But this is a really nice set that goes together. If loving thoughts could heal, you'd be better already. While this is here, I'll go ahead and get this ready for the inside. I have cut the designer paper we are using on this card is from our Lily Impressions paper pack. And I'll show you a little bit of it real quick. This is a theme today. This is another one of our celebration items that you can get free with a $50 order. And I just love this paper. The purples, the blues, teals, greens are just absolutely gorgeous. I have made quite a few cards with this, and they all turn out really pretty just because of how pretty this paper is. So I have this piece that's going to go on the front behind our watercolor piece, and this one is going to go just as a little decoration down at the bottom of the inside of the card. I know a lot of times I hear from people that they have a hard time knowing what to do on the inside of a card, and this is a really good easy trick. Just add, if you have some designer paper on the front of your card, just add a little strip or a little piece on the inside and makes it look nice and decorative without a whole lot of effort or time spent. Okay, we have most of our pieces prepared. Let's talk about these lilies. You can use regular white cardstock for these if you want to. I am using our shimmery white cardstock, which is nice. We are going to use the aqua painter to add the color to these. And anytime you're using the aqua painter, it's nice to be able to move the color around a little bit better on the shimmery white cardstock. But I think these one, when I made this one, I think this was regular white cardstock. So you can do it either way. And we are going to stamp and emboss these lilies using Versamark ink and white embossing powder. So I would imagine that a lot of you watching have done some embossing before. If you haven't, you're in for a treat because this is a really cool technique. So get your stamp inked up. Go ahead and stamp it. I am going to do 2 of these since we need 2 for the card. Make sure you give yourself a little bit of space around them because we will be die cutting them. Now, you may not be able to see that very well because the Versamark ink is basically clear. So now, oh, I forgot to use my embossing buddy. If you run this over your paper before you stamp, it will help keep extra powder from clinging to your paper in places you don't really want it. But of course I forgot. It happens a lot. I would lose my head a lot of days if it wasn't attached. Okay, so get a little container, pour your embossing powder over, shake the extra off. Hopefully you can see that. At this point, you will use your heat tool to heat this until it changes and you can actually see that powder melt into kind of like a plastic look. So when you're doing this, you'll turn it on, hold it an inch or two from your paper. I am not going to do that. I'm going to save everybody some time. And I already have two here that I have done. So I'm going to hold this up. I don't know if you will be able to see this, but it has changed from a powder to, you can actually see it looks more like plastic. Light is reflecting off of it now. So that's how you know it is completely heat set. If you brush your finger over it and any of it comes off, you needed to heat it up a little bit longer. So, okay, this is my sample that I already have ready, but I'll show you how to add color to this with the aqua painter in your gorgeous grape ink. Make sure I don't have extra water in there. What I like to do is go over the whole thing. Anytime I'm doing a flower or something that's going to be basically one color, I want to be able to add shading to this, but I want to start with a really light color. So I'm going to add that light color to the whole thing. And after I have a little bit of color on all of it, I'm going to go back and try to add my deeper colors. So on this one, you can see in this, I want to add the dark color where the shadows are. So on the lower parts of these petals is where I want to add the darker colors. And then on the inside of these lower petals, the ones that are sticking out farther would be more in the sun. They'd be a little bit lighter. So the inside of these petals and then the lower parts of the rest of the petals is where I want that darker color. So pick up some color, start at the bottom, and move your way upwards. And as your aqua painter runs out of color, it is going to fade as you get to the top. If you still have too much color in there and you're getting towards the top, you can stop, kind of like I'm doing here, and get rid of some of that extra color, and then go back and blend the rest. I'm trying to remember. I feel like I did a purple. Did I do a purple card last week? I know sometime recently I told people they should guess what color my favorite color was because everything I was making that day was purple. I just love purple, and this Lily Impressions paper pack that I use for the colors on this has lots of purple, so of course I love it. You can play around with this as much as or as little as you want. That is looking pretty good, except I want to add a little bit more down here on these lower ones. The more variation you have in your color, the more dramatic it's going to look. So if it's all kind of one color, it won't be as dramatic with shading as if you get some real light colors and some real dark colors. I'll go ahead and I'll try to add a little bit of just real dark to give you an idea of what that adds to it. And if you run out, I'm starting to run out of ink on my ink pad, so if I wanted more dark, I would have to go back and squeeze my ink pad again and get some more ink on the lid. So there we go. I already have the other one done for our card. And I didn't mention this. I thought I would save a little bit of time here in our video, but after, I would suggest waiting to die cut these until after you have done your coloring like I just did. So then you can pull out the die for this and run it through your die cutting machine, cut those out. While you're at it, you will also want to die cut 2 of this lovely long piece. When I shared pictures of this card this past week, I had at least a few people comment on this lovely long piece, and I've used 2 of them on here. But this is just such a cool shape. It reminds me of water droplets. You know, if it's raining in the pond and you can see that pattern, I guess, in the water. That's what it reminds me of. So we're going to use 2 of these. I cut this out of our, that glimmer paper that's white. It's called Diamond. It's called Glimmer. I think Glimmer. I don't know. Our white glimmer paper. So you need 2 of those. And I think now we have everything and we just need to assemble. So I have my card base in Gorgeous Grape. Card base measures 5.5 by 8.5, typically folded in half. Here is my designer paper. This measures, give me half a second to remember. This measures 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. So go ahead and put some snail on the back side of this and attach it. And of course, which way is up on this? It doesn't really matter because I'm going to cover it up, but okay, now I am going to attach my watercolor piece. And you want to use lots of adhesive on this. This heavier paper, especially when it's bowed up some, you want to use plenty of adhesive. You could use some glue or some tear and tape adhesive if you prefer. Oh, I just love this. I think these colors are so pretty. Now I will go ahead and attach these. And you can do this however you want. You can do it with glue. You can do it with some snail. I am going to just run a little strip of glue down the center. Of each of those. Let's see if I can pick them up with my clumsy fingers. And lay it down where I so desire. Here looks pretty good. This other one, I'm going to put the points downward and bump it out one little spot so that they nest together like that. Super. Now I am going to, one of these has a little bit darker shading. I'm going to put the darker one in the front because I like the way it looks a little bit more. I am going to attach the back one with snail. I'll attach this front one with dimensionals. If any of you here are beginners and I am talking about anything that you are completely clueless about, I really encourage you to send me a message and I would be happy to help you learn anything that you are not sure about. I love to help people learn how to make cards. Obviously, I love doing it myself. And yeah, if you have any questions anytime, just let me know. So we'll stick that on with some dimensionals. That gives it a little pop-up, little dimension. And I guess I better put this on the inside before I forget. I was ready for embellishments, but I'll stick this inside. I just think this is so pretty. Hopefully you all like it as well. So now we need a couple of embellishments. We'll go ahead and do some of our rhinestones. These are from our Noble Peacock rhinestone set. Love the colors in these. Real deep, bold colors. And they match the purple, which is why I pulled them out. So put one down there. These are paper snips. This, if you have trouble adding rhinestones and little embellishments to projects, this is the easiest way to do it, in my opinion. Slip your little snips under there and they do the hard work for you. And then I have some of our baker's twine already tied in a little bow. And I am going to add this with a bit of our multi-purpose glue. If you haven't used this glue before, it's awesome. I find myself getting it out for household fixes because it holds all sorts of things. It's perfect. There you go. So if loving thoughts could heal, we'll leave that one out, you would be better already. So hopefully that was helpful. If you have any questions about this, let me know. Couple things I want to share before I go is I am going to give away a card kit to somebody who has joined in here right now. And that is going to be Kathy Raymer. Congratulations, Kathy. If you will send me a message with your address, I will send you the materials to make this. So all of the paper pieces and the embellishments to make this card. So that's our winner for today. I want to mention also, I do customer reward gifts. I mentioned this at the beginning. For anyone who orders from my website and uses the current hostess code, which I change each month. It's always posted on my website, scrappingstampingandstuff.com. That was complicated. They rotate each month. So if you place an order, if it's a minimum $50 order and you use the current hostess code, you will get one of these gifts of the one of your choice. If you place a $100 order and use that code, you get both of them. If you place a $150 order, you do not want to use my hostess code. You will earn your own hostess rewards, and I'll still send you both of these gifts. So our March gifts are these really pretty pearlized doilies. I used these in, oh, now I remember last week's project. I used these on last week's project, and last week's project was purple, now that I'm thinking. And I think they made the Stampin' Chamois just for me because I like purple, and it matches today's project. This is my new favorite way to clean stamps. I still use my Stampin' Scrub a lot, but this is fantastic. You just wet this and blot your stamp on it, and it just sucks the ink right off of it. These things are awesome. So these are my March rewards gifts. If you place at least a $50 order with that host code, you can get one of those. And before I go, I will show you what we're going to do next week on Tuesday at 1 o'clock in my Facebook group. If any of you who watch this on YouTube want to see these live, visit my website and you can find a link to my Facebook group where you can watch these live. So this week we have new celebration reward items out. The ones I just showed you in today's project are some of our previous items. As of today, we have 5 new ones available. And one of them is this gorgeous paper pack. It is called Flowering Foils, I believe. And I made these cards to highlight the 4 prints that come in the pack, which are these. And then I took each one of these prints and I used our Stampin' Blends markers to add some color to them. And I made these. And I thought these turned out really cool. And this one is my personal favorite. Too bad it's not purple, but I like pink too. And this is what I'm going to show you how to make next Tuesday. I thought this just turned out really neat. So thought it would be a good chance to show you how to use our blends markers, which I love. I'm not really a huge fan of coloring things on my projects, but with the blends markers, I actually really enjoy it, and I love the way it looks when I'm done. So this is what we are going to do next Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Thanks for joining in, everybody, and I will see you next time.